miss seeing you. So now we can finish off our event with our keynote speaker, one of my dear, dear friends. She's been to Havasu a few times, Marki Ryhal. She will be presenting how to pivot in uncertain times and secure your future. Marki's been selected to speak at the Realtor Conference and Expo 6 times with high program evaluations and an Inman closing keynote speaker. She's a licensed managing broker, realtor, avid volunteer, major donor, and internationally best-selling author of The Modern Real Estate Professional's Guide to Success. In 2019, Marki was nominated as Riz Media's Real Estate Newsmaker and inducted into the Ryhal Hall of Fame. She is also dedicated to all things real estate. With over 25 years of marketing experience, Marki has taught over 300,000 realtors how to earn up to 2,682% return on their marketing dollars. Marki holds a BS in management from Chicago State University, a master's in business administration from St. Xavier University, and over 50 real estate related licenses, certification, and designations. Welcome, my dear friend, Marki.
Thank you, Mary. I'm elated to be back in your great state again. Trisha and I had the task, and I wouldn't even call it a task because we enjoyed ourselves so much, driving across the state from Phoenix out to Lake Havasu, and we enjoyed our time together. I love sharing. Real women do share. As I tell people, we put ourselves in the position to push and to pull. I love all things real estate and social media related. Some of you I've had the opportunity to meet face to face. I do teach from the concept to seek first to understand. If you have any questions, I do like for you to type those into the chat bar. How to pivot in uncertain times in order to secure your future. Historically, I would be on the road 100 nights per calendar year, working for real estate associations, banks, and for title companies. And to be quite honest with you, it has been an adjustment. I wouldn't say it's necessarily an adjustment for me. It's an adjustment for the 3 men who I live with who aren't accustomed to me being at home. And so now they had to get reacclimated to seeing my lovely face every single day, but it has not necessarily been easy to come back home, especially when I get to work with so many dynamic people in the real estate space. Let's go back to 2019. Fall of 2019, I launched my first book. It became an international bestseller, and everything was going according to plan. I'm going to make the assumption that most of you are sitting down right now, meeting either with your team, your managing broker, or people you do business with in order to forecast and to plan for a successful 2021. So I had this plan of action. Everything, and I mean everything, was going according to plan until Friday, March the 13th. I don't know if you've ever watched that movie, Friday the 13th, but now it has a totally new meaning in my life. I had gone from Chicago out to Tacoma, Washington. I had flew from Tacoma, Washington back to Washington, D.C. I had 4 programs in one day in Washington, D.C., and I was taking the last flight from Washington, D.C. back to Chicago, putting me into Chicago around 1:30 a.m. on Friday, March the 13th. Now, sometimes we get these messages, right? Text messages and emails, they just bombard us. And a lot of us have managed the ability to focus on the task at hand. Generally, that's closing a real estate transaction. Well, I have the ability to focus on the event. So I had been ignoring my text messages, but I knew that something was going on that did not sit well with my soul. And this is what bombarded me when I finally got the chance to sit down on that airplane coming from Washington, D.C. back to Chicago. Email after email, rescheduled. Let's have a conversation about the upcoming convention, postponed. So what I was seeing was canceled, rescheduled, postponed, canceled, rescheduled, postponed. And I'm thinking to myself, not all my hard work, I know my hard work did not just go down the drain. What do you mean I have to go home and I don't know when I'm going to be able to get on an airplane again? And so when I got home, I actually slept for 48 hours. And by Sunday, I sat up on the side of the bed. I looked at the news, didn't like anything the news had to say. And I made a commitment to myself. I said, I don't know what's going on, but Marki, we will emerge better than what we came in. And that has been my promise. That is what I tell myself every single day since Friday, March the 13th. By Friday, March the 13th, I had already traveled the distance around the world. And so this was going to be that record-breaking year. So I think I did what a lot of people do. I went and I looked at my money, okay? That was the very first thing that I did. I wanted to know, how long can I potentially stay at home and survive? Or better yet, how long can I stay at home without asking my husband for his money and have him put me on a budget that would reduce me to a coupon clipping mama, right? Clipping mama, and Walmart becoming my favorite store of choice. So I said, okay, Marki, let's count this money up. And I realized I had enough money. But then I said, you know what? Let me go secure me some more funds. See, I've been through the real estate crash. And this feels a lot different than the real estate crash, because real estate people still seem to be a little happy, okay? They still have managed to keep a smile on their face. But I looked at Navy Federal Credit Union, and then when the Realtor Credit Union rolled in with Northwest Credit Union, I said, okay, I got me some more credit. I think that I'll be able to survive this. But Marki, what are you going to do different? If you're going to emerge better, if you're going to leverage this time to pivot, what are some of the things that you plan to do that will make a difference in your life long term? And one thing that I've been committed to ever since I've been in real estate is being a lifelong learner. How to survive in the age of automation. Lifelong learning is the key to career success. See, this is not my first rodeo. This is not the first time that I've had to pivot. This is not the first time that things did not go according to the Marki Lemons plan. How have I been able to overcome those hurdles? I was able to overcome those hurdles because I committed to being a lifelong learner. But let me tell you what made me make that commitment, because I'm like a lot of people. I thought once I had earned an undergrad degree that I would be set for life. Well, because my parents and my grandparents were. But then when I was in college, I opened my first restaurant and it failed, and I realized I needed to go to grad school. So I went to grad school and earned an MBA. But here is a printout of my real estate licenses from the state of Illinois only. And this is what I want to point out. I became a licensed managing broker without ever taking the pre-license course. Here in the state of Illinois, at the time, if you had a master's degree or an undergrad degree in management, you could just sit for the exam. So my cousin gave me a book similar to this book, and I studied that book, and I passed the exam the first time I took it. Now, you know you think you're smart when you pass that exam the first time you take it, and then you really think you're smart if you never attended pre-license school. So I called to schedule my first showing appointment. Let's assume it was 123 Main Street. And I'm like, hi, this is Marki Lemons. I want to schedule an appointment for 123 Main Street. I was so excited. And the voice on the other end of the phone says, what is your agent ID number? I said, what is an agent ID number and where do I get one from? And the person on the other end started laughing at me. She said, girl, you're going to have to go down there to the local association. And I said, okay. So I did a little Google search. Yes, Google was out then. And I realized I need to go down to the Chicago Association of Realtors and become a member. Now, here's the problem with going down to the Chicago Association of Realtors. That same book that I had studied to get this exam, I went to get the new version of that book. There is one line that talks about not the Chicago Association of Realtors, but the National Association of Realtors. So when I show up at the Chicago Association of Realtors, because see, this was my Bible at the time, they tell me that I need to become a member of the Chicago Association of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors, the Illinois Association of Realtors. I have to join this thing called the MLS, and I need to pay a one-time MLS fee. I said, look at here, none of that was in this book. What are you talking about, and who are all these organizations that I need to give $1,200 to? Mind you, that $1,200 was not in my business plan. So as I am giving the young lady a check, yes, we wrote checks back then, I tell her, I'm glad that this is the only money I have to give you. And the young lady at the front desk started laughing at me. She says, if you want to keep that membership in your MLS ID number, you're going to need to write us a check every single year. That was the moment that I realized I didn't know nothing. I didn't know anything about selling real estate because the pre-license course does not teach you how to sell real estate. And that it was going to be my responsibility to educate myself. I always go back to these licenses because according to the National Association of Realtors, Article 11 under competency, a person is viewed as being competent the day they pass the licensing exam. And I know we all know that that is simply not the truth. So just like I made a promise to myself I was going to emerge better than what I came in to quarantine, I made a promise to myself then that I was going to be committed to being a lifelong learner. On July the 31st, 2003, I opened my real estate company. And by September the 6th, 2003, I quit my job as a pharmaceutical sales rep with Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, keeping in mind that I knew that I didn't know nothing. However, I had enough good sense to go and enroll in the ABR course. And I went and I pulled the bronze level sellers in the city of Chicago. And if you look down under bronze level, it's stating that I'd sold over 50 units. I had actually sold close to 70 units. And my name, Marki Ryhal, is there. But keep in mind, July the 31st, 2003, I didn't know nothing. It was my commitment to realtor education, to designations, and to certifications that got me into this position. But remember, it's because I'm committed to being a lifelong learner as the result of knowing that I don't know anything. This is me, Terry Watson, and Donna. And when I look at this picture, it means so much to me, realizing that I earned the ABR in 2004, and it positioned me to be in the top 10% of realtors in the country. However, last year, 2019, I was inducted into the Ryhal Hall of Fame. It wasn't because I was a one-hit wonder just by earning the ABR. It was because of the commitment, the 15-year commitment to ongoing education, and especially to buyer representation education that got me that beautiful Tiffany plaque. So education and being a lifelong learner is key. But let's talk about volunteering. Well, let's go back to 2004, all right? So my arrogance had gotten the best of me. I passed this exam the first time. I'm in the top 10% of realtors in the city of Chicago. And the Chicago Association of Realtors decided to send out its board of director application. Now, mind you, I really did not know what a realtor was, okay? But I decided that I think I'm smart and I sold some real estate. I should be on that board. And at the time, the Chicago Association of Realtors was the third largest local board in the country. So it takes my mentor, Frank Williams, to talk about me. I walked up into the Chicago Association of Realtors like a boss, okay, and almost demanded that they put me on the board of directors. And they laughed and they said, nope, she don't even know what a realtor is. She's not getting on the board. 2005, I come back out again. They don't put me on the board of directors, and now I'm real salty because not only do I have the ABR, I had earned the CRB and I had earned the CRS, and I'm thinking to myself, are they kidding? Huh? All this real estate I'm selling, and I got designations and certifications. Then I realized, girl, not only do you have to volunteer, you need a mentor. You need to get in alignment. In 2006, when I came back out to be on the board of directors for the Chicago Association of Realtors, finally I had the right combination. What I did not realize was that sometimes you have to volunteer in order to be able to volunteer. If we think about our ability to pivot in uncertain times, I realized that through volunteering, I have been mentored by people who I could not afford to pay to mentor me. But in 2006, I was able to go onto the board of directors of the Chicago Association of Realtors. And recently, I am a two-time presidential appointee to the board of directors for the Chicago Association of Realtors. What I did not realize was that I needed to volunteer more and to be able to volunteer. Oftentimes, people tell us about different sources of income in the world of real estate or in other industries. I know that I love all things real estate related. And I went and took a screenshot of just some of the different sources of income because they say that you should have 7. One of the things that has been a bridge for me in these uncertain times when I have not been on a plane since Friday, March the 13th, is the fact that I've had the opportunity to leverage online tools, especially this beautiful thing called Zoom, in order to create 7+ streams of income. If you've ever wanted to have your own buyer workbooks, journals, notebooks, planners, if you ever wanted to be branded from head to toe in apparel, real estate apparel that speak to things that are important to people in your city, you can do it. You can leverage online free tools to create multiple sources of income for yourself. And we're going to talk about some of those sources of income. The very first thing is that of being an Amazon affiliate, especially now that we're going into the biggest buying season. Amazon does pay up to a 10% referral fee on anyone who actually buys because you introduce them back to the website. I am an Amazon associate. I tend to only stick with real estate related books and content and anything that actually services fair housing. So Marki Ryhal publications, book on racism and solutions, real estate apparel, the remarkable notebooks. And I'm going to break some of those down for you and what it means. But here's the beauty. Not only am I an Amazon affiliate, I am also a Kindle print on demand publisher. That means that Amazon pays me 2 ways. They pay me on the front off the gross, and then they pay me my royalties or my net, okay? This was something that I self-taught myself since Friday, March the 13th, because my first book that was an international bestseller, I actually had to pay a publisher, and he sends me a royalty check. I don't have to do that anymore. So the first thing we started with was the Social Selling Journal. The Social Selling Journal is for people in real estate, but it was in order for us to get our minds right, to focus on solutions, not on the problem, because I made the assumption that I wasn't the only one having troubles navigating today's new normal, right? Especially when we had these great business plans already put into place. I decided that it's not enough just to have the journal, but that I needed to do a 7-day education series around the journal. As a result of that, Carrie Little and I have built out a Facebook group that now has over 4,000 people in that group that are interactive, that we talk about marketing solutions, and we talk about events. Most of those events today are actually online events, okay? Well, how did the idea come about for the journal, okay? Well, Crystal Swain Bates. I met this young lady last January at an event called Traffic Sales Profit. I intentionally went to go and attend her event because she has sold over 300,000 books via Amazon. And I'm like, well, I want to know how this young lady does what it is that she does. I intentionally waited in the hallway for her after her presentation to introduce myself. She told me that she had a challenge coming up, and it was the six-figure 7-day challenge. So right on March the 30th, you can see that that is day one of the challenge. I enrolled myself into Crystal's challenge because at this time, there was no social selling journal, but I knew that I needed to emerge better than what I came in. Within a couple of months of taking her challenge, I had published 20 different journals, notebooks, planners. I'm over here looking at all the different things that I've published. So the first thing, what can you learn for free? There is a free group, a dynamic free group on Facebook for any and everything that you think that you want to learn how to do. I'm going to share with you the resources that I use because I can tell you exactly how they helped me, okay? But there is a free group on Amazon for everything. To back up, and I said Amazon, on Facebook for everything. To back that up, YouTube University. I am sure I have a PhD from YouTube University. So all those sleepless nights, I was in my office sitting in this same chair I've been sitting in ever since Friday, March the 13th, learning something new. One, for myself, but then also to help other people navigate. We're seeing a lot of negativity go on around us. I did not want to participate in the negativity because I'll give you a prime example. When I met my husband, a lot of my friends were going through a divorce. I told them that I would not allow their negative relationships to change how I felt about Mary and Stephen, and that I needed to distance myself. When we are consistently around people who speak negativity, who do not believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, who do not believe in opportunities, who are only Debbie Downers sitting around putting everything down, that starts to rub off on us. I knew that coming in or coming home, that I needed to focus on creation. I needed to focus on positivity. I had to create something new for myself because I never wanted anyone to dictate to me how my life should look. And I know from hanging out in Arizona, hanging out with the Women's Council, we are women who believe in leadership, who believe in being empowered, and that we know how to take control and charge of our own lives. So who have I learned from over on Amazon? Treasure hunting is one place. And let me say this, the people who I learned from might be different than the people who you learn from. I love people who are very visual. I love people who do not like to nickel and dime you. I like people who come from contribution. So the people who I'm sharing with you have all offered something free, but they're willing to teach you. Do they all have a paid product? Yes, but you don't have to buy the paid product to learn from them. So treasure hunting became one of my sources. Now, did I learn a lot from Crystal? Most definitely, but this is not going to be one size fits all. So you need to have backups and you need to have options. The next tool that I use is Canva, C-A-N-V-A. I love Canva. I actually like to leverage Canva from my desktop or from my laptop because I am 50. I cannot see. I've been wearing a bifocal now for over a decade, and I could not imagine what I would create if I tried to fumble with this mobile device in the palm of my hand. But what I love about Canva is that anything that I'm creating on my computer or on my laptop, it automatically syncs to the app on my device. Another thing that people don't tell you about is ISBN numbers. All books have them. If you're leveraging Kindle Print on Demand, they give them to you for free. Is it very possible that you could create a journal or notebook on buying residential property in Arizona? Or I know that Trisha specializes on international transactions with people actually moving from Canada down to the area. With that being said, then you could have your journal on buying internationally or buying your final home, whatever the case may be. You don't have to buy ISBN numbers. If you're going to print on Amazon, they will provide them for you at no cost. But if you decide that you want to do this, then Bulker would be a system that you can buy them at discount in bulk. So instead of spending $125, because you can spend up to $125, I purchased 10 for like $295, so $29 per ISBN number. A lot of people believe that they have to pay in order to have their book registered through the Library of Congress. That is not true. It is absolutely free. However, you would want to do this as soon as possible because it takes a couple days in order for them to send you your book registration. Okay, so Crystal, treasure hunting, ISBN numbers you can get from free or you can get them from Bulker, and to have your book included in the Library of Congress is absolutely no charge, but it is something that you will want to do sooner rather than later. To date, I now have 27 books published, okay? The first one right over here off of my shoulder, I paid someone. Let me be clear, just so we can break these numbers down. I spent $12,500 to be clear, and he did everything he said he was going to do. So I don't regret the experience. But what I'm loving is the fact that I self-taught myself how to publish, and I don't have to pay anyone anything. And I created most of the covers and everything using the tool Canva. This is not my only international best-selling book. Right now, I have a second international bestseller book, The Social Selling Journal. I'm the publisher of Boarded Up Chicago, an international bestseller, and I am a contributor to, what is that book up there? The Secrets of Top Selling Agent, the second edition, that became an international bestseller within 24 hours in the real estate category. This is something that you can absolutely do at no cost and position yourself differently in your marketplace. Do we have any questions so far before we go into the actual volunteering? Oh, thank you very much. What is the website? I'm going to put all the websites in for you when we get closer to the end, and also you can have a copy of the PowerPoint slides. That will not be a problem. Beth has a text code. Okay, Divine 9. Oh, I see. Oh, we got Delta Sigma Theta Divine 9. Yes, ma'am. So as we go back and we start thinking about this, I told you that you got to volunteer in order to volunteer. So back in 2011, I was the chairwoman of the Chicago Association of Realtors Education Foundation. And as a result of coming home, I realized that the foundation had its own scholarship. I hadn't really ever thought about having a scholarship, okay? Until we had the riots and the looting in the city of Chicago. And I had created a video on behalf of the 77, which is the Diversity Committee of the Chicago Association of Realtors. What I did not realize is that that one video would be viewed over 37,000 times on Facebook and would raise over $50,000 for our diversity committee. Once that occurred, I said to myself, well, Marki, why don't you give some money? Okay. You're sitting at home. You're learning a lot of new things. You're creating these additional sources of income. You should have a scholarship for African American females who reside in underserved communities of the city of Chicago. And because I had raised the $50,000, I felt empowered to be able to raise money. Okay. And so we came out with the Marki Lemons Ryhal Education Advancement Scholarship. But I don't like to ask people to do anything for me, and I don't like to ask people to beg. But this is what ended up happening. I knew that I could create these journals and these notebooks. So I put together a 8 notebook series called Be Remarkable Notebooks. All proceeds from Be Remarkable Notebooks is donated back to the Marki Lemons Ryhal Education Advancement Scholarship. So I'm taking the skill set in order to earn money off of one set of publications, but then I created an 8 notebook series just to send African American females to college who live in underserved communities here in Chicago. And sometimes you have your family who decide that, hey, we want some of that Marki too. This is my cousin Christopher and his son Zach, who's also my cousin, but Christopher is my first cousin. He's an attorney by trade. When we had the riots and the looting, which is why I raised the money for the 77. It's also the reason that the Marki Lemons Ryhal Scholarship came about. Him and his son took roughly 250 pictures of the board up from the riots and the looting. He came and he said he wanted to put together a coffee table book. I said, well, I've learned these skills, over here on how to do Kindle print on demand. Yes, I'll publish your book for you. As we look over here on the right-hand side, this book on numerous days has been number 4 in African literature, number 6 in the history of Chicago. Christopher has been featured on the cover of the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Sun-Times, Fox News Chicago, WTTW. He just received a NBC Good Neighbors Award for capturing these photos. But as we're clear, had I not taken the time to learn how to publish, the book would have never become a reality because he didn't have the $12,500 to pay a publisher to put the book together. So we now have a scholarship, right? We're funding the scholarship through the sales of the book. We now have another book. Proceeds from this book is going to a whole different fund to help people in underserved communities of the city of Chicago. So fast forward, I made 50, July the 31st. My husband was taking me on a 9-day cruise to Barcelona. Needless to say, that got canceled. Then I decided that I was going to do a 5-day bar crawl. Needless to say, that got canceled. And then I was going to do a brunch with my best friend. We often celebrate our birthdays together. Needless to say, that got canceled. So I'm sitting around and I'm like, look, I got to do something special for my 50th birthday. Like, I can't go anywhere. This is really outrageous. And I said to myself, I said, you know what, Marki? Why don't you raise some money for your scholarship? Okay. Yeah, we got a commitment from an organization. Yeah, we're going to sell these notebooks, but why don't you go on and see how much money you can raise for your 50th birthday and really give to African American females? And so on July the 24th, 7 days before my 50th birthday, I came and I said, help me celebrate turning 50. In lieu of cards and flowers and gifts and lunch and dinners and brunches and all this great stuff, can you help me help women, right? And so I put a post out on July the 24th. I came back again on July the 30th, the day before my birthday, just as a reminder post. Now, mind you, I really have not left the house that much since Friday, March the 13th. And the reason is my husband is a coronavirus survivor We did not self-isolate in our house. I 100% believe that me and my sons are asymptomatic, as we have never shown any symptoms, but we did not reduce our interactions with Stephen. So I never want to be the person that gives anyone the virus, which is why I have no problem staying at home if I can't get on a plane and come see you. Well, you know, sometimes your friends don't follow instructions. And so even though I put the link, because I don't like to handle people's money, for them to go and give their money directly to the scholarship, okay, everybody did not take heed to those instructions. So $750 was given to me in the form of cash and Zelle and PayPal, and people was just sending me money. So I appreciate the fact that my friends trust me. However, I thought that it would be a great idea for accountability that I come back and I acknowledge them. So $750 cash was given to me. There was a total of $4,450 given to the Marki Ryhal Education Advancement Scholarship in uncertain times for my 50th birthday. Okay, so we're lifelong learners. We're acquiring new skills. We've raised $50,000 for the Diversity Committee of the Chicago Association of Realtors. We started a new scholarship. We published Boarded Up Chicago. We have more money in the fund than we thought that we were going to have. Our initial goal was $2,000, and we have more money coming in because guess what? I have to also document the sales for the notebooks. Up until September the 24th, 141 books had been sold. That means that all of the revenue from those books will also go back to the scholarship. Every dime raised. So when you're feeling down, right, you can become a lifelong learner. You can put these skills to work to earn more money, because now I have over 7 sources of income. But to me, to whom much is given, much is expected. And when a person sits around and their fists are clenched because they're unwilling to give anything, that means they don't get anything either. I am clear why I am keeping an open mind while I'm able to smile every single day. I'm too focused on trying to give something away. And what I realize is every time I give something away, it's coming back to me tenfold, which means then I can give more away, right? And the more you give away, the more you actually receive. What are some of the additional tools that you need in order to put this together? Every tool is a free tool. You need a PDF to Word tool. You can get that in your browser. You need Word to PDF, JPEG to PDF. Copyright, don't ever pay anyone to copyright. Your works are copywritten upon its completion. So you don't have to pay someone to copyright your creation. Some of you have probably seen that I'll come over to Facebook and I will talk about my latest creation. I'm actually doing that for copyright purposes to document that my entry is the first entry on the internet. So I'll go post it on a social media platform to document the fact that this was the first day that it was seen on the internet in case anyone ever wants to challenge me. Another thing to think about today, because they are so much easier to use, that would be QR codes. There was a time that you had to have an app for a QR code. But if your phone, I would say, is 2 years or younger, if you open up your camera app and you hover it over a QR code, a link will come up for you to click on. So if you've never used QR codes, we are seeing increased engagement with QR codes. I would highly recommend that you invest in QR codes today. Well, I decided I wasn't going to just stop at the journals and the notebooks, okay? I decided that I needed to have a print-on-demand t-shirt, mask, apparel company, okay? So Crystal didn't teach me how to do this. Another person taught me how to do this. But I am so delighted when I see realtors in the items that I've created. None of them are branded to me. Every item that I'm creating is to get consumers to stop and talk to realtors. And if realtors are able to generate more leads, they will definitely remember where they got their apparel from. So I wear these masks all the time. I've got houses for sale. Every time I put one on, someone stops me. They always want to know, do you really have houses? Yes, I do. Well, how do I get in contact with you? Oh, text Marki too, and I have a text code, and they're instantly going to be entered into my customer relationship management system. And I am now able to put them into a campaign. So, how did I learn about the print on demand business? Once again, YouTube University. Me and Lisa Irby hung out for a little bit of time. I love Lisa Irby. She's a straight shooter. Godfrey is another one. And remember, I like people who teach you how to do it, okay? And so everything, all of these companies, all of these different sources of income came out of the fact that I wanted to emerge better than what I came in. And they're all making a little bit of money. They don't make keynote speaker money, but they all make a little bit of money. The greatest thing that came out is the fact that being committed to a lifelong learner and my philosophy on trying, okay? And then the volunteering. Those are the two things that will truly stand out in my life, in my marketplace, and provide to leave a legacy. What kind of questions do you have about pivoting in uncertain times? I am with you. My 50th cruise was canceled. I wanted to cry. Barcelona, you know how hard, look, it takes some effort to get your husband on board to take you shopping in Europe. Essentially, that's what we was going to do. Look, I got to bring it back. Great idea for your 70th next month. Come on now, Lynn, come through with the 70th birthday. Woohoo! What you want to think about in all of the pivot moves is how to take that to niche yourself more in your marketplace. How do you come out with a branded notebook just for your marketplace? How do you come out with a t-shirt that says, ask me about houses in Scottsdale, Arizona, right? Because you want to be laser beam focused and very niched. Everything that I've done for the real estate community, you want to do it for your local buying and selling community. And because everything is print on demand, you do not need upfront money. I'm going to say that again. You do not need upfront money. The question is, how are you going to emerge better than what you came in? And when I mean by came in, I mean Friday, March the 13th, when things around us started to be shut down. I appreciate you guys. I see some questions over here in the chat, so let's come back. Do you do custom ones? Love those. Nope, I don't do any custom. Well, let me say this. I could do custom work. I haven't done any custom work. My goal was I had a long to-do list. So a lot of these things I wanted to try it out, and it gave me the opportunity to try it. Generally, Thanksgiving to Christmas is a slower time of the year for some realtors. Anything that you think that you've wanted to try, if you're looking for another source of income going into retirement, I would hope that one day we all have the financial ability to retire, whether we do or not. These are just some additional sources of income that I can tell you exactly when I started and the time it took me to do these things, because this is what I've done for the last couple of months.
Thank you so much, Marki. And thanks, you said you were going to make your slides available, so I think everyone would be very interested in that. I'm looking to Corinne to nod her head. Yes, we will make those available, correct?
Yes. So we'll make the slides available. That's not a problem. I had did a quarantine event, and that's when the idea came about for the class, based on just the things that I had implemented and the fact that it didn't take large capital to start any of these ventures up, because it's all print on demand. And right now, the print on demand business is one of the fastest growing sectors. It's grown 20% this year.
Wow, that's fantastic. Wow. Well, we so appreciate you being with us today. And I have the honor of concluding this wonderful 2 days. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it would have never happened without our little engagement group, flash engagement group that did the planning. And that's Elizabeth Ortega, Cindy Reddy, Stacy Krolak, Lynn Trait. I have no idea how you could possibly be turning 70, Lynn. I don't believe it. Shirley Nimsky and Trisha Lehane. So big kudos to them. And then also, as you can imagine, this takes a lot of work behind the scenes to make all of the seamless transitions and everything. And I have a wonderful staff that worked on this. So I want to recognize Corinne Duran, and of course, our Laura Kovacs is always there helping to make these things happen. So totally appreciate that. We had a couple announcements, I believe. Corinne, did you have some slides that you were going to put up, or am I just, oh, she does, of course. So we have a couple upcoming events we wanted to let you know. We have our Going Global Trade Mission, October 26th through the 30th. I believe it's an hour and a half each morning. I just looked at the agenda. It's fantastic. There's so much opportunity in the global market, and we know that some of you are wanting to dabble in that. So please join us for our Global Trade Mission. And also we have a Halloween virtual happy hour on October 29th at 4:30 p.m. So that's, yeah, Cindy's like, yeah, for the happy hour. And I understand Frank is working on some spooky drink that we will end off with. And of course, we have our market updates, and we will have a guest speaker. So just, I want to thank you again for attending the event. Special thank you and shout out again to our partners, Arizona Association of Realtors, Women's Council of Realtors, Cutco Closing Gifts, Callbox Storage, and Spin Top Signs. Thank you to all our incredible speakers for taking the time to participate in this event. And if you have any follow-up needs, for instance, you want some website that someone referenced or a connection to something they mentioned, just let us know and we will reach out to those speakers and get you that information. So enjoy the rest of your week. If you want to hang on and just say hi to each other before you sign off, that's fine. But I just want to thank you again for being here.
Thanks, everybody. What an awesome 2 days.
Thanks.